And good evening and welcome to another edition of The Way I See It. I'm Ralph Williams. It's great to be here live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And the reason we're here tonight instead of tomorrow night, I have some prior obligations, and this ended up being a scheduling conflict. So what I decided to do was to have it tonight, as we did with Tuesday night Sports Corner. We had it last night, and my guest was Claudia Rosano. Claudia and I had a wonderful time on Sports Corner. I'm going to bring some more guests on also on this program as well. And my TV show, The Way I See It, I try to have a guest on every time. That show's only a half an hour. This show is an hour. The Facebook show is a half an hour on Sundays. Those of you who don't know, The Way I See It is on PCTV channel 21, Comcast 47, Verizon Cable, and it is also on Facebook 9:30 p.m. Sunday nights, and right here on YouTube 7 p.m. every Friday night. So make sure you tune in. No excuse not to tune in to my shows here on Facebook, on YouTube, and on television. Also coming up real soon, I got a Wrestle Talk show that I'm doing with Mark Mancini, and that's coming up real soon on Blog Talk Radio and Mancini Media. Also, I'm going to be doing, Mark Mancini is going to be my producer for this program and for the Sports Corner show as well. He is also going to be my producer for that. We're doing a wrestling show together, and my show will be going national on Blog Talk Radio. Also, we have the TV show, which is, of course, on a rotating basis on channel 21, Comcast 47, Verizon, PCTV, and PCTV's Facebook page. Now, February 28th, we will have, I'm going to have Pastor Paul Roberts on with me live in the studio at PCTV. He's going to talk about COVID in the, in his pastorship, as far as he contracted COVID 2 years ago. It was a big mess, not only for our church, but for a lot of people, and a whole lot more with Pastor Paul Roberts. He's my pastor of Eastminster Presbyterian Church. Also, March 3rd on PCTV's Facebook page, we're going to be live again, 4:15. And the reason why we're live twice in 1 week on PCTV is because of the change in schedule due to inclement weather, which, of course, as you well know, those of you who live in the Pittsburgh area here and the surrounding communities, we have had our issues with weather this winter. I can't wait for spring to sprung or sprung or whatever you want to call it, because I just can't wait for it to happen. I am so excited. It's just going to be a great thing when spring gets here, because this winter has just been really tough. It has been super tough this year, and it's time for spring to get going here. As you know, the groundhog said we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter, and it has been winter. The weather is nice now. Tonight it's raining on 50-something degrees. And, I just found out from my friends in Philly that it's 66 degrees there with some rain about coming, as well as the rain that we're getting here. Maryland's getting hit. My favorite city, Ocean City, Maryland, is getting hit with some rain as well. That's one of my second cities. I wasn't able to go this summer there because of some money conflict. I fought with the manager there of the Comfort Inn at the boardwalk there. He was trying to charge me $8,000 for 2 weeks there when I originally booked it in February. He had given me the a certain rate of $2,000, and then he's trying to tell me I'm ripping him off. Well, you know how that all went. We had a big argument, and so be it. It's over with now. We ended up going to Erie, and I ended up having a good time up there, and I like Erie. Erie's one of my second cities as well. I just don't choose to go up there in the wintertime when it's snowing. But beside the fact there, I don't know what kind of vacation I'm going to have this year, because I'm getting married in May, and the interesting thing is going to be whether or not I'm going to have any additional funds left to even go anywhere after what I had to spend for this wedding. All right, let's talk about our topics for tonight. And I do have a little bit of a life story here because we're going to talk about safety on Uber and Lyft. Okay. And what I'm talking about is we just had an incident here in the Pittsburgh area, in the area of Monroeville. And a woman got killed. She was driving Uber. They have no suspects at this time. And so, and right now, Uber is, I'm not saying they don't know what's going on. They have no clue. All right. That's where this has come about. They have no clue at all as to what is going on here. What happened with this murder. All right. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story here. I did Lyft for a little while. And, you know, as with anything else, I drove a cab for 15 years. Once in a while, you get these, you know, savory characters you don't like, people we call gangbangers or whatever you want to call them, potheads or whatever. And you get some people that get in your vehicle and you really don't like them. You just don't appreciate them getting in your vehicle. And they go to some of these bad communities where there's a lot of shooting and crime and things like that. Okay. And, you know, I kind of made a comment, well, how does some of these lowlifes afford this? You have to use a credit card. And a lot of these people don't have credit cards. Well, here they're taking debit cards, prepaid debit cards. And now I'm coming to find out that Uber don't do their due diligence on these people with these prepaid credit or these prepaid debit cards. So what's happening is now Uber is going to do facial recognition. You're going to have to put a copy of your ID into the system when you order an Uber. All right. I don't know much about Uber. I didn't drive for them. I drove for Lyft. But Lyft, they ought to be ashamed of themselves as well. About a year or so ago or more, a woman got sexually assaulted by a Lyft driver. They tried to reach Lyft. They tried to get a hold of somebody. Nobody answered the phone there. Nobody got back to them. They tried to explain about the situation. And all Lyft kept saying was this, and this is what Lyft does, because Lyft did it to me, okay? Oh, well, we are having more and more training for our drivers in regards to this. So somebody gets sexually assaulted in a Lyft vehicle with one of their drivers, and what happens is therefore now that happens, and Lyft continues to just say, well, we're training our drivers some more. We're training our drivers some more. It sounds like a busted record or a skipping CD, okay? And then on top of that, they kept repeating it so bad that the news reporter here who broke the story about this got so disgusted that they finally were able to find a corporate phone number and get somebody from corporate on the phone from Lyft, okay? And now they're finally trying to find out where this driver is or what's going on. And that led to the background checks because these guys were just hiring these people. They didn't care. All right. Okay. I had a small little blemish on my record, some mistake I made about 10 years ago. And now Uber didn't want to hire me at one point. Oh, well, they didn't want to rent me a car when I was trying to do that years ago. So, but forget about that now. But Lyft I was driving with my own vehicle. And it turns out that Lyft is like that. But they will call you if you're a driver and somebody can't get their vehicle, and they will call the driver, and actually there will be a voice on the other end of it. Okay? But they couldn't return this family's phone calls in regards to somebody or their daughter getting sexually assaulted by a driver that drives for Lyft. Okay? So, what does this tell you about the safety of you riding in a Lyft vehicle or the safety of someone driving for Lyft or Uber? All right? Think about that one time. You're going to drive for one of these two, companies. All right? It's a ride share program. They use an app. You have to have a major credit card or a debit card or whatever. And Uber even admitted that the person that paid for the trip that murdered this driver used a prepaid debit card. So they couldn't track it back. Credit cards, they can track back. Okay. So now the drug dealers and the low lifes and the people that you don't want in your vehicle, or the people that stink and smell like dope. And yeah, I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. Okay. And before the pandemic, when I used to drive Lyft, it was great. I got all these partying type people that were nice. I got college students that were decent. I got regular people that were nice, working class that were nice. Well, after the pandemic happened, I didn't work during the pandemic at all because I didn't know what the business was going to be about. Then I started gradually working my way in 2020 to do some Lyft. Okay. And it turns out that when I was doing Lyft, that I found out that I probably could have made a lot of money during the pandemic because there weren't a lot of drivers, and all these high risk workers, the ones, the frontline workers that needed to get to work, needed vehicles. So there were a lot of vehicles that were needed for these people. And I talked to this guy, and he said, if you really didn't have a life and you really wanted to work, you could. Okay. But in Pennsylvania, and I think this is across the country, if you're driving a commercial vehicle, you're only allowed to work 14 hours. Okay, no questions asked. They made that rule because truck drivers were working, 200 hours a week or whatever it was, not getting any sleep, causing accidents. Commercial drivers, cab drivers, whatever, they were all doing the same thing. So they decided to come up with this law that you're only allowed to have a driver out 14 hours. So Lyft shuts you off, because I went to Lyft to their regional office, which is in the back of a Pep Boys. All right. Now, what had happened was they're linked up with Hertz, because Hertz is the company that you can rent your car from. If you don't have a vehicle or you don't want to abuse your car, you can get a rental vehicle from Lyft. And Uber does the same thing, but Uber deals with Enterprise, I think. All right, but I know Lyft has a contract with Hertz. Well, it turns out that the local Hertz dealership that they were in, I guess they were in some kind of an office park, or some kind of a 2 or 3 business place here, and I guess they couldn't pay the rent or something, so they ended up in the back of a Pep Boys. All right, Hertz Rent a Car and the Lyft office, the regional office. Well, now they're in the back of a National Tire. They're in a National Tire and Battery building. Okay, they share it with them. Who knows where they're going to be next, Lyft? Okay, Lyft used to have a great office in our Oakland section of the city of Pittsburgh. I don't know what happened to that. Okay, and I'm surprised that Hertz lets something like that happen. They're a rent-a-car company. Why can't they? You could have it in one of their other locations, even at the airport if you needed to. But instead, you're in the back of a National Tire and Battery. Okay. So I went to go see them there, and this woman who was a driver was complaining because Lyft shut her off because she was out for 14 hours. And she goes on and on about how she has 3 kids and she's a single mom. Okay. What I want to know from her is, how is that Lyft's problem? Okay. That's the first thing I want to know. How's that Lyft's problem? Okay. All right. But anyway, that was what she was crying about. She said, well, the lady tried to explain it to her, and then you know how frustrating it can be when people don't understand. I was in customer service, and I'll say this all the time, 35 years, and I know exactly what she was going through. And here it turns out that she was trying to explain to the woman that the law states that, and if you look at federal law for commercial driver's license people, and once you start working for Lyft and Uber and you turn on your app, you are an official commercial vehicle. You even have to go out and buy separate commercial insurance for driving. My insurance went up double when I had to work for Lyft. So I stopped working for Lyft because I'm not paying for it. Okay. And then, so try to explain it to her, and she, for some strange reason, didn't seem to get the understanding that Lyft wasn't doing it on purpose. They were doing it because that's the law. All right. But anyway, getting back to this, sometimes I felt unsafe, even though I had a little push button thing on my phone. And I don't know what Uber has, but either she had a gun stuck to her head or some kind of weapon, or the guy had, or whoever had their hand on her, that for some strange reason, maybe she didn't push the button because Uber didn't seem to know what was going on. Okay. They found her body dead in Monroeville. They found her car vacant. All right. This Uber driver was murdered, which begs to differ and begs the question, what kind of safety do these drivers have? All right. And I've seen incidences with cab drivers, being that I was one, and I never had a problem of people, beating up on drivers, stealing, robbing them, running away from not paying the fare. That's called theft of service. So I've seen it happen. I know of some drivers who have been physically threatened. My late wife and I, we both drove a cab. We met driving a cab. She had a gun stuck to her head. Okay. It was a scary situation for her. She didn't know what to do. She was never in that situation. So they have cameras in these Uber cars. I guess they have these cameras, but apparently the camera in this lady's car didn't seem to work or something. So nobody seems to know what's going on. But once again, we're talking about safety. Okay. Is safety taken seriously? No, I don't think it is. Because if it was, this lady would still be alive with Uber. Okay. Our bridge that collapsed would still be where it is. All right. And you wouldn't have to worry about walking outside your door and getting mugged because you feel safe. All right. I live in an apartment building because I'm disabled. I'm handicapped. I live here with senior citizens. And sometimes we don't feel safe in here because you know why? There isn't security here during the day. We had 24-hour security when COVID was going on. Okay. Now all of a sudden we don't have the appropriate security. And I fight and I argue with the property asset manager, and I stopped doing it because it's no use. The interesting thing about this is I'm friends with our new mayor, and I can't, for some strange reason, get through the roadblocks of this authority here that runs this building. Okay. And I'm tired of talking to the people here because nothing gets accomplished. And as I've said before, my theme for this year is nothing, because we're living in a nothing society. Once again, here we are. Uber did nothing. Nothing at all about this driver safety. Lyft did nothing for that family. Now, that family had to sue Lyft for negligence, because when they try to call corporate office or get somebody on the telephone, because on the phone nowadays, you can't talk on the phone. Okay. All right. I have people that don't return my phone calls. I'll call them 6 times and they won't return my phone calls. What I don't get is, why do people hide behind emails and texts? Because they can. Okay. All right. Because they can. Because they want to. All right. But anyway, yeah, people don't return my phone calls. I've tried to call a couple people today. I've called them 6 times. Can't get a return call. Won't return my texts or my emails. So where do you go from here with that? But that's what Uber and Lyft do. And you know what's sad about this? They get away with it. It's a safety issue, a safety for the driver and a safety for the customer. But again, as I said on the last show, I don't see anybody complaining about any of that. Okay? I brought up on Sunday or Monday on The Way I See It show how nobody complains about the $55 that people take out, that these gas stations can just take out whenever they feel like it. Yeah. What? Yeah. Oh, You don't know? Because it was never publicized. Oh, but it's okay when they publicize about how high gas prices are. It's okay when the gas station gets robbed, but they won't tell you something that they're stealing from you. Okay? Yeah, they're stealing from you and you don't know it. And you know what's sad about the whole thing? Nobody does anything about it. It's a nothing world, remember? Nobody does nothing about nothing. And once again, nobody did anything about this. But I have brought it out into the spotlight because I'm angry about it. And you should be too, but you're not. That's the whole problem here. Okay? Later on, we have a city council lady here in this town named Erica Strasberg. And yeah, that's right. I'm calling her out tonight on this program. Because she sits there and she moans and groans about plastic bags at the grocery stores. And that we need to eliminate them because it's an environmental hazard. Okay? We have to look out for the future of our children, you know. Well, where were we looking at for the future of our children now? I'm talking about today with our children. That's the first thing I have about with Erica Strasberg. Secondly, we have far more issues in this city, in the city of Pittsburgh here. In case you don't know, and I forgot to bring it up tonight, those of you watching elsewhere in the United States, I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. All right. We have a new mayor. First black African-American mayor in the history of this city. And it's great because he's a friend of mine. I know him. Okay? But I can't get nothing done about this authority that runs this building, which is supposed to be under the city of Pittsburgh's umbrella. And I can't get any results. I can't get anybody to do anything. Again, it's nothing. All right? And this is where it all comes back to. Nothing. All right. But I'm going to talk about Erica Strasberger and city council and plastic bags later on because we have another issue here and topics that we're going to discuss. But again, do you trust yourself in an Uber or Lyft vehicle with somebody you don't know? Of course, when you call a cab, you don't know who's there. All right. I'm going to work on next week getting Jamie Campolongo on here. He is this the CEO of the wow, I got a brain fart all of a sudden. Z-Trip Cab here in Pittsburgh. I've known Jamie for 30 years. Okay. Let's see if I could try to get him on the program next week. Here on YouTube. That's right. Here on YouTube. I'm Ralph Williams, and this is the way I see it. And we have just finished up talking about Uber and Lyft and safety. And I just gave you two examples of how both companies behave themselves when it comes down to something like somebody getting sexually assaulted by a driver. And the only thing Lyft kept telling these people were, well, and this is what they told the media too. Well, you know, we're going to give our drivers more training. Well, what about what the driver did to this woman? Okay. How about conducting an investigation into what this driver did to this woman? Is there any fact to it? Okay. That the family had to go out and get a lawyer. All right. And this is the classic example of what I'm talking about. All right. You know, I picked a fare up on Lyft one night at our children's hospital. You know, we have a good children's hospital here. So I get the lady in the cab, and I know the lady. I think she works there, but this time their cousin was there because he was shot. All right, I guess he was of age, and they put him at children's hospital. Apparently, this kid got shot. Well, first of all, the guy turns his back. He's talking on the phone, and he looks like he's walking back into the hospital. And this woman, she gets in my vehicle with these kids. And of course, the kids carry on all the way out to where they're going. All right. So, secondly, the woman is so fat, she don't even take a bath. She stinks. All right. So I had to put up with that, crying kids and everything else. All right. But my 35 years of customer service experience, you learn to keep that to yourself. All right. So what had happened was I end up taking him home. The guy gets in. He goes, "Oh, my man, what are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean, what am I doing? You're leaving me." I said, "I didn't know you needed to get in the vehicle. You're walking away, just trotting away, like nothing." Okay. So he starts giving me lip, and so he gets in the vehicle. I let him, I had to let him sit in the front seat because the woman and the kids took up the whole back seat. The two kids were real small in a car seat, of course. And the woman was, she weighed like 600 pounds. Okay. If that goes to tell you what I'm saying. All right. Not that I have anything against fat people. I'm fat myself, but I don't weigh 600 pounds. Okay. All right. I don't wear cowboy boots and strike oil like somebody that weighs 800 pounds like that wears high heels and strikes oil. Okay. I don't do that. All right. I'm not that fat. All right. And I'm trying to get on a weight loss program. I've been heavy my whole life because I have diabetes. I've had issues with food for a long time, trying to get off the starch and the carbohydrates and whatever else that involve curtails with dieting. Okay. All right. Instead of eating potato chips at night, eat carrots and celery, or drink a Slim Fast shake, or get some kind of a whatever. Okay. My friend Alan Levine, he has a show on or on YouTube here actually, and on Facebook through Bethel Park TV. We have to live in the community of Bethel Park, which is outside of Pittsburgh here in Allegheny County. All right. He does a show called The Speedy Gourmet. And he makes healthy dishes like fish, chicken, lentils, vegetables, peppers. I mean, all that healthy stuff. All right. He don't make pizza. He doesn't make sausages. He doesn't make steaks. He doesn't make any. He makes healthy fish. Tuna steaks. Okay. All right. He stays healthy, drinks green tea. I've started drinking green tea because I've had this sinus problem. He told me it cleans up your sinuses. So why spend $80 getting Navage, which is some kind of thing you stick up your nose and it drains out your nose or whatever, cleans out your sinuses. When you can spend $1, maybe $2, and get green tea. All right. So he does this Speedy Gourmet show, and we're going to get back to some more about safety with Uber and Lyft in a few moments. But I just wanted to bring that up about how he does that. And his show is here on YouTube. Look up Speedy Gourmet with Alan Levine, and he'll show you some dishes of how to make quick dishes and stay out of the fast food place. You know what I was told one time? Fast food can kill you. I was told that. I stopped drinking. I sort of still drink some Diet Pop, but I don't drink it as much as I used to. I was a big time junkie. I used to drink Diet Mountain Dew all the time. Then I started getting sick. So I quit doing that. Now I don't do that anymore. I drink an occasional Diet Coke or a diet drink. What really gets me is they call it a soft drink. And I don't understand why you would call something like that a soft drink when it don't go down soft. Okay? But they call it a soft drink. And that's just, it's crazy how they do that. All right? A soft drink. Give me a break. But anyway, getting back to the Uber Lyft thing that we were discussing before I got off track with this. Think about this one time when you either drive for one of them or you're a passenger with one of them. Are you safe? Okay. We used to have cameras in our cabs, and they took them out because that's invasion of privacy. But I guess it's invasion of privacy when the driver gets robbed. Okay. So the Uber, especially the women drivers here for Uber, are trying to get Uber to let them put up plastic or supply plastic partitions for their car. That's a good idea. Okay. Why not go to some of these police departments that get rid of their police cars that have the partitions in them and see if you can get one for free? I'm sure they'll give you one or sell you one at a cheap price. Okay. some of these boroughs and little suburb areas that maybe have 50 people living in them, and you got one cop that's like Barney Fife or whatever. Yeah, something like that. If you would have to pay for one, which of course, if I know Uber or Lyft, that's probably what you would have to do. Okay. And I think Uber, if I'm to the understanding, like I said earlier, puts these cameras in these vehicles to do this. Okay. So I'm going to see next Friday if I can get Jamie Campolongo in this program. If I can get him here, if I can get him on this program, okay, I'm going to discuss with him about safety concerns in regards to what Uber and Lyft do, and he'll tell us what Z-Trip Cab does, formerly known as Yellow Cab, of course. Okay, and they have an app also now that you can call or you can use to get a cab, which you'll get one probably faster because everything is computerized now. I used to work as a dispatcher for them, so I know exactly what it is now. It's not anything like it was before when I used to call out some of the areas to see who was closest to them or whatever. The computer does all that now. There are call centers in Atlanta or in Montana or in Alaska or somewhere. Okay. All right. And you got some people, I was calling cabs for a little while there. And when I do call a cab, I usually call one of my friends. I still have friends in the cab business, believe it or not. Most of them have died off, but I have some that I call on their personal cell phones because getting through to the main company, forget about it. You can't really get a live voice on there. And if you do, it's from Atlanta, Georgia, or as I mentioned before, Miami, Florida, or Las Vegas, or wherever, or Alaska, or whatever. Okay? Who don't know anything about the Pittsburgh area. All right, so but we'll talk with him. I'm going to work on getting him on the show next week. All right, let's talk about McKeesport, Pennsylvania. Now, McKeesport is a very small community. It's in the Monongahela River Valley, and it is let's put it this way. It can be a nice community and it can be a bad community, just like most places, some places anymore. Okay, but the interesting part of this is they're trying to resurrect themselves. Now, McKeesport has been trying to resurrect themselves since the steel industry and the factories and everything went out of business in Pittsburgh. Okay. All right. They're number one in the county, in Allegheny County, for homicides, have been for years. Okay. They had an opportunity. There was this big boom from a company called EchoStar, which was under DirecTV. All kinds of jobs, making well over minimum wage. I mean, I'm talking good paying jobs. Okay. Everything from technicians. They had this big customer service hub. Guess what? Nobody wanted to work in McKeesport. They advertised those jobs because the reason I know this is because in 1999, I had a sports program on a local radio station in McKeesport now it's in White Oak. Used to be in McKeesport, 8:10 a.m. WEDO. And I had my sports program on. All right. It was called Sports Talk with Ralph Williams. I only had it on for a month because I was frustrated with not getting any phone calls at all, except for the first day I was on. And it was frustrating, just like anything else was that year. Okay. So I got rid of the show, and they constantly and consistently were advertising about jobs, technicians' jobs, hooking up DirecTV, all kinds of jobs. Do you know they got so frustrated because nobody wanted to work in the Mon Valley? They left. DirecTV moved EchoStar out of Pittsburgh, or out of the whole area, as a matter of fact. Do you catch what I'm saying? So McKeesport has been trying to resurrect themselves for many years. And now they want to take this building and tear it down. It used to be an old hotel back in the day, and they want to make it back into some hotel again to try to bring people into the city. Well, clean up the crime. They got a new mayor. He's young. He's trying. But you know how that goes. There are communities in this town that you can fix. You can put up townhouses. You can put up Businesses, you can put anything you want in these communities, and there's going to be that little 20% or 10%. I'm sure this is in your community too. All right, this little 10 or 20% that's going to make it bad and tough and rough on everybody else because they don't want to see that change. That affects their business. And I think you understand what I'm talking about, okay? It affects their business. All right. Don't forget to put stuff, if you're watching live, if you have a comment, don't forget to put stuff up on the comment box and I will answer all your comments. All right. Right here on The Way I See It, Ralph Williams from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We're talking general topics of many things here on this program. We talk local stuff. We also talk stuff of national perspective. All right. And that's the way I see it tonight on McKeesport. Next, the Ukraine situation. And now they're saying the prices are going up. Well, you know something? Every time there's a problem, now, first it was COVID. Okay. Now it's the Ukraine situation. Any excuse to raise prices on everything and make people like me and squeeze into my pocket and take more money out of it. Yes. Do you believe these people? And let me tell you something, if you do, you better take a look at yourself in the mirror and you better watch who you think you can believe. All right? And I used this example when COVID was at its prime spec in 2020, okay? All right. I've been doing this now for 3 years. I used to do it on my phone and just did it on Facebook. Now look where we are. We're doing podcasts on YouTube. I'm going national with Mark Mancini. 3 years. I'm on TV too. All right. I'm moving up. Okay. It took me 3 years, but we're here. We're doing it. I'm blessed by God to do it. Okay. But I'm not letting anything get me down like COVID or the Ukraine war or the shipment situation, which of course has hit me a little bit too. All right. You know, I ride around a little motorized little scooter, you know. Okay, I ride around in that once in a while whenever I need to get someplace where I can't or will not drive to. I'll use my little motorized scooter, get on a bus and go. Okay. It took 6 months, 7 months for me to get a new scooter. Normally it takes 2. Oh, excuse me. Wow. Okay. It was like it was at the beginning when I first got it in 2016, and I had to wait from February all the way till August or September before I finally got it. And that's where it was at because of the supply chain. That's what they say. All right. But if the prices are going up, what I don't understand is, what does Ukraine have to do with us? That everything in our world here in the United States goes up. Now I come to find out that wheat isn't made in Russia and they export it to us. Wheat. What? We can't make wheat here? What's the problem? Okay. Let's stop relying on countries like Russia and China and all these other people. And I know we make trade deals with some of these countries, but then every time there's a war or there's some kind of problem, our prices go up, gas goes up, utilities go up, food goes up, everything goes up. You go in the pocket and you squeeze my wallet. And you squeeze it so tight that nobody can afford it anymore. Oh, well, houses have gone up now because the lumber's expensive because they can't get lumber. You know something? That's why this economy is what it is. Because we're too busy being so greedy that we're gouging each other for everything. And don't tell me that's not going on. Just like you put your debit card into the pump in the reader. Do you know that if you have a debit card, a prepaid debit card, like I have one, and I have a regular bank account as well, but I have a prepaid debit card. I've had it for years. Okay? If I buy gas at the gas pump and I stick my card in there, they take $55 out of my account illegally. Okay? And I've had this argument with my mom. I've had this argument with everybody else. Well, they put it back in. But that's not the point. The point I'm trying to make is that's theft. I didn't authorize them to do that. But you know what's sad about this? Nobody does anything about any of this. Okay? Well, food prices are going up. Go out and buy 2 months full of food and don't go to the grocery store. All right? If they're going to stick their hand in your wallet and they're going to make your wallet smaller, okay? All right? Then you need to make their wallet smaller. Did you ever watch the movie Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd? Remember the part when Dan Aykroyd's loading up all these sawed-off shotguns, and Eddie Murphy says, "Oh, you can't really go around killing people with sawed-off shotguns just because you're pissed at them." And Eddie Murphy says, making rich people into poor people is, you start going into their bottom line, their wallet, okay, their money. When people, you watch some of these cop dramas, these cop series, and these cops in these movies, and these cops steal money off of drug dealers. So what the gas companies are doing is they're stealing money off of you, and you're not doing anything about it. That's the sad part of this whole thing. That's why we do nothing in this country. Nothing. All right? We do nothing. And it's really, really sad. It really is. I'm very disappointed in the people in this country, the way they think. Common sense has gone out the window a long time ago. Stupid never takes a vacation. It's worse now than it ever has been, because we panicked and we got all worked up and scared because of this COVID thing. And the easiest thing in the world, to go out and get shots, nobody wants to do it. I don't want the government telling me what to do. All right? The easiest thing. All right? And we failed at it. And 900,000 people are dead in this country. 900,000. All right? If we ever needed to go into a huge war and we needed people for a draft, that's 900,000 more people we could have had in this country. And every time now you hear a death, it's because of COVID. They didn't get their shots. It's the same thing every time. Tonight, that's the way I see it about the Ukraine situation. Okay, now it's my turn to go after Erica Strasburger. Okay, Erica Strasburger is a city council lady here in the city of Pittsburgh. And she brought up this silly, stupid legislation about trying to ban plastic bags at the grocery stores and at the small little stores here in Pittsburgh, because she says it jams up the landfills. It's we have to look out for our kids. It's environmentally unsafe. Blah, 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 and boo, boo, boo. All right. Some people use those for garbage. Some people because they can't afford trash bags. Their suggestion is use paper bags with handles. Oh, okay. Well, here's what we're doing. It's like robbing Peter to pay Paul. You want to get rid of plastic bags because of the environment, but then you want us to tear down more trees to make paper bags so that we can have them with handles and everything goes through the paper bags. And then you want to charge. Okay? So, Erica Strasburger was on the news yesterday, And the reason she was on was because another decrepit bridge was pinpointed here in Pittsburgh. It's called the Negley Avenue Bridge. I've walked across it. I've been across it with my motorized scooter, and I've driven across it many times. Okay. I don't know if I will now based on what I heard. It could fall anytime. It's poor. The steel is raw, or the paint's chipping off the steel. It's being held up by two wooden 2x4s. It's an awful bridge. So she's standing there going on and on to the news. Oh, I wasn't aware that this bridge was like this. But you'll scream about plastic bags, Erica. And then when I went on city council, I don't go downtown anymore. I get on Zoom with them. Okay, they have this WebNor thing, and I get on there with them. And I make my comments every now and again. Well, now I'm going to make a comment where I'm going to say to Erica Strausberger, I have a paper bag for you to put over your face. Because you know what? You got egg on it. And you want to know why you got egg on your face? Because you stood there and you said you didn't know nothing about that decrepit bridge, which is in the community that you represent. But then you're going to come up with legislation for plastic bags when we have other problems, other situations going on in the city. And you want to know the ignorant, stupid comment that she made about when I made that statement I made about that we should get into other things instead of plastic bags. That's like when let's say, for instance, you illegally park your car and the parking person comes up and gives you a ticket and you say, well, you need to be out there busting drug dealers and quit worrying about me jaywalking or tickets or parking tickets, okay? All right? That's the same thing here. Worry about the more bigger issues that are going on in your community, all right? Okay? Potholes, streets not getting salted and plowed, people that have sidewalks that should get fines because nobody can walk or go across them because they're torn up. I don't see you going after landlords about none of that. Do you understand what I'm trying to say here, Erica? Do you catch my drift? And if I'm somebody that's watching this program right now and is hearing what I'm telling you, I would vote this woman out. Okay? I would vote her out tomorrow. Because I cannot believe that you're represented by this type of behavior from a city council. Oh, and then on top of that, they went and they authorized themselves this huge raise, and they ended up with more egg on their face, because you want to know how that happened? They ended up having to rescind it because the city controller, Michael Lamb, found out that it was against the city charter. So they had to get rid of that raise. But then they have an emergency closed door meeting, but they won't have an emergency closed door meeting about the crime that goes on or about this or about that, but they're going to do it for their own pay raise. All right. One of the council people, who is a friend of mine as well, Corey O'Connor, didn't take his raise because his father used to be our mayor. And I know he's going to be a mayor here in the future. I thought he was going to run now, but he didn't. Okay. All right. There were too many different friendships involved. He was friends with the former mayor, Bill Peduto. And I guess he felt that running against him when Ed Gainey was running against him was going to cause a problem or a rift between their friendship. But I was always taught friendship is friendship, but business is business. And if you're in business to be the mayor, sometimes you got to put friendships aside. I don't know if you do, but if you watch WWE wrestling, they have this thing called the Royal Rumble. Every person for themselves. Okay? That goes on in this country anyway. But Corey O'Connor, he didn't look out for himself. He thought he could better stay in his community and serve it as a city councilman. And good for Corey. Okay? But Erica Strausberger has to go. This is terrible. How can you represent your community and tell the news that you didn't know nothing about this bridge being decrepit? It's so bad, Stevie Wonder can see it. That's how bad this is. All right. And yeah, I'm tearing you up, Erica, and there's one reason why. Okay. Because that is ridiculous. And I made my point clear. I was down at when I spoke for or at City Council on Zoom. Okay. All right. Because it's more time. It's better use of my time to do it from here than it is to go down to the council chambers and speak. Which is great about these tools now. I've come to learn how to use them and use them to do what I need it for, which is great. Okay. They take a pay raise, and then this city council, when I call, they don't return my phone calls. My city councilman will not return my phone calls about the stuff that goes on in this building and this housing authority that conducts their business with these buildings. Okay. Then his assistant lies to me and tells me when I went to Ed Gainey's cook-off for him when he was running for mayor, oh, Ralph, we'll take care of this. Call me. I've called twice and you haven't returned my phone call. And I'm not going to do it again. And the next time that I do talk to you, I'm going to embarrass you in front of all your colleagues, just like I did one or two of these people. Because I had to call somebody that was representing another neighborhood. His name is Ricky Burgess. And I had to call him because he's on this housing board. Okay. He didn't return my phone calls. So finally I got angry and I went to the mayor. And I finally got some stuff sort of justified, I guess. But I'm still not satisfied with my complete goal. And that is to fire the administration for housing and clean house and restructure everything. Because the way they run this is a disgrace. Okay? Watch the movie The Last Castle with Robert Redford and James Gandolfini. All right? Robert Redford is a general who gets sentenced to a military prison, first general ever to do this because of dereliction of duty or whatever. He didn't listen to his superior officer. And he got charged with murder because he sent some troops in Bosnia and they ended up getting killed. So he got sentenced to the military facility. And he says to the warden there, who happens to be a colonel, who's played by the late James Gandolfini. If he was still alive today, we'd see some more of The Sopranos, but we'll talk about that another time. All right. He says, you know what, these inmates, they don't want more food, better food. They don't want longer showers. They don't want better anything. They don't want more TV. They don't want cable TV. They don't want anything. You know what they want? They want your resignation. And that's what I say right now. Okay, about this authority here, this housing authority that runs my building. All right. We don't want better apartments. We don't want anything. All we want is you to resign. President Casterbinian, we want you to step down. The Black Empowerment Group, Tim Stevens, has even been after him to step down. Okay. But the board, who has Ricky Burgess on it and Mayor Gainey's wife on the board, will not make this guy resign. But they don't see what's going on here. And I know I'm friends with Ed Gainey, and Ed, you're the greatest guy in the world. And he told me the same thing he told the news tonight about where we're going to talk later in a few minutes here about the SWAT team here. Okay. All right. So Ed Gainey says to me, just like he says to the media, and I understand that he's new at being the mayor, and he says, I'm forming these committees to go around and look at all this stuff and come back to me and report what they found or what they saw or what they recommend. You know what, Ed? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I'll let you do that. Okay. But if I don't see any results, you know where I'm going, and you already know it. And I'm not playing around no more. I've had it. Okay. All right. Let's talk about speaking of the SWAT team. There are some people in this town that want to see SWAT not dressed in army outfits and look like they're going to war. What do you expect them to dress up in in pink dresses and run around with their belts around, and and their guns and everything. What, you don't want them to even have guns? You don't want them to do anything. Okay, hooray for you. You want them to do this, this, and this. I feel more comfortable with them being in that kind of attire. Yeah, there's sometimes I got to go and kick doors down. And I know they made a mistake last year with this one house. They made a big mistake and tore down the wrong door. City paid $80,000. They filed a lawsuit. They got their money. What's the difference? And I know there's some mental strain on this because they went to the wrong house. Sorry. That's what they make mistakes. Okay. But I feel more comfortable with the SWAT team dressed like that. Okay. I'm for police. I'm for more police. I'm for better police. I'm for cracking heads and getting these criminals in jail. That's what I'm for. I'm not for all this. Oh, well, I live in this minority African American neighborhood and I don't appreciate the police riding around. Why? What, do you have something to hide? And here's what bothers me. Instead of working with police, you go against the police all the time. And I know what you're going to tell me. You're going to say, Ralph, you're racist. You're going to get on my Facebook page and you're going to tell me I'm racist. No, I'm not racist at all. Not at all. Okay? You want to build a better Pittsburgh? Let the police do their job. You understand? And once again, I'm going to say it to those of you whose brains are so freeze-dried from smoking pot or doing drugs or whatever it is that you do that you don't get it up here. Your brain has been so, what they call, decrepit or freeze-dried or whatever it is, okay? That's how bad your brain is, to where you don't get the picture of what I'm saying. If you work with the police will work with you. If you listen to when the police tell you to get down on the ground and put your hands in the air, then the police don't have any problems with you. Okay? But you seem to think that by doing this to the police, cutting them, making them wear pink dresses instead of army uniforms, which I'm just messing around with you guys about, okay? So just continue to do that kind of stuff. But let me tell you this, when there's no police, when you want to defund them, and I've said this many times on some of my other shows, and now that I'm here on YouTube and I'm national, and I can say these things to national audience, and I'm going national, okay? What are you going to do when the police are gone? Oh, so you can carry an assault rifle with you and shoot somebody whenever you feel like it? What, you think everything's going to be martial law? Okay? Everybody cries, everybody complains about the police. But when there is no police, because they either can't get people because nobody wants to do the job anymore, because you're under a microscope, when you come to work, you're walking on eggshells. Oh, I got the community after me. I got the mayor wants me to be fired. I'm not saying that happens here, but what I'm telling you is when you act like that, that's what happens to you. Okay? So go ahead, defund the police. Don't pay for them. What are we going to have? Guardian angels? Weaponless people? Yeah, we need weapons. We need them because we have to fight our own wars in this country. Okay? Robbing banks, selling drugs, sexually assaulting women. Name it, and it's done. It's called crime. And the only way to fight it is to be aggressive. Not, we got to get people into programs. We don't have to bust. Well, yeah, you know what? I don't have an issue with you not busting people for marijuana. Just give them a fine or whatever. Don't put them in jail. Because we don't have space in our jails now that we need for other people. And I would rather have it for them than for something like that. Okay? I don't have any issues with legalizing marijuana. Maybe you could take some of that tax money and build better bridges and build our infrastructure so that we don't have to spend it from the federal government. That tonight is the way I see it about the SWAT team and everybody in this town crying about the way they're dressed and how they conduct themselves. Well, maybe if you behaved yourself a little bit more and, you wouldn't have the police coming to your house, breaking your door down with a SWAT vehicle. Okay? Works both ways here, folks. It takes two to tango. Okay, real quick, I want to congratulate Pizza Cake. They're in the McKees Rocks Plaza, which is another community of Allegheny County here in Pittsburgh. Pizza Cake turned a negative into a positive. And last week and on my Facebook shows and here on this podcast, and when I was on Anchor for a little while, okay, I brought up about the Great Resignation, how everybody thinks it's a joke. Well, this couple turned this into a positive. And you know how they did that? You know why they call it Pizza Cake? Because it's like a piece of cake, okay, what they're doing. And what they're doing is they're putting they started up their own pizza shop, quit their jobs, a husband and wife, and decided that to go into the pizza business. And they're saying it's a piece of cake. They're doing well. Great, good for them, and I'm happy for them. I really am. See, you're probably thinking, well, you know what, Ralph, you talk a lot of negative stuff on this program. No, I brought up positive things. I talk about some of this negative stuff because it is negative, and it shouldn't be. Picking on the police, bridges falling down. It's disgraceful. It's called nothing because nobody cares. See what I'm saying? Reader's Digest had a taste fest for hot dogs. And a Great Values uncured beef was an honorable mention. And then the runner-up was the Hebrew National, and the best of the show was Nathan's beef curled hot dogs. So there you go. Hebrew National, their hot dogs aren't too bad. When I used to work at Heinz Field, I used to eat one of them. And I'll tell you what, they're pretty decent. I like hot dogs. I buy these Brooklyn hot dogs. I buy the short Coney Island small hot dogs and the foot long what you call it hot dogs, the Brooklyn ones from Brooklyn. Yeah, that's what I get. I love those hot dogs. It's great. The Coney Island ones. And Nathan's, they have good hot dogs. Joey Chestnut, and I love watching him eat those hot dogs down at the hot dog eating contest. That's pretty interesting with him. He's a champion at that. That's his living. That's what he does. And it's great. Maybe someday we'll have him on here too. Because the way I see it, he's a great guy. He's doing something for himself, and he's got his little career doing that. He's had some issues with with people and his health. Because of it, he had to get throat surgery a few times. Just a quick nugget here before we go. The Mirage Hotel is going bye-byes down in Vegas. And they're going to take the Qatar off of the Hard Rock and move it over to where the Mirage is. And it's going to be like a little statue in a museum there. And they're going to make the Hard Rock into some luxury, exotic, or whatever kind of hotel, luxurious. You know how they want to make these fancy hotels. They can't make it simple anymore in Vegas. You know how it goes. Everybody that lives in Vegas, I'm talking about you. It's a difference when you visit Vegas than when you live in Vegas. And I know that because I have friends down there that told me that. And I saw how they live down there. And living there is different. You don't go to the casino every day. Well, some people do. There's no more 99-cent shrimp cocktails. There's no more $5 buffets. There's no more giving you pens and hats and whatever else. That stuff has ended. That's no more down there. But I haven't been down there since 1999, so I have no clue, except for what I see on TV, what Vegas is doing these days. But that was a nugget I wanted to give you tonight. Well, it's been a pleasure being with you here tonight on YouTube. And I'm going to be uploading this to Facebook, and you can watch me here on YouTube the way I see it anytime you want. I'm Ralph Williams. It's great to have you here tonight. It's great that you're watching. Be safe. Have a good night. And I will talk with you next Friday right here on YouTube. And I'll have a guest on with me next week because I'm looking at doing that. All right. And I'm also have a guest February 28th for the taping of The Way I See It on PCTV. My guest, Pastor Paul Roberts. And also, don't forget, March 3rd, I will have a guest on as well. All right. So everybody have a good night. Be safe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next Friday.